Thank you all, and I really appreciate all of you that turned out today. I believe we're on the cusp of a new revolution, and this revolution is going to go right across the world and right across Ireland. I believe this march is a clarion call, a call to arms, to a peaceful movement across the world that will rapidly insist that our governments, our politicians, and our media, and our businesses take this issue of climate change very, very seriously. Climate change is the greatest existential challenge that we've ever had to face. We're now on a trajectory of 5 to 6 degrees, not 2 degrees, and 2 degrees is dangerous climate change. Our children's future, there are 2 kids here on the stage. All of those young people, their future is clearly at stake. We look back in 20 years' time, or even 10 years, and this young generation is going to be very angry and very depressed, and will ask us, why did we not act when we knew and the science was unequivocal? Why did we not act to change and dramatically wean off fossil fuels and other greenhouse gas emissions that are going to bring civilization and the biosphere to its knees? By mid this century, the issue is coming very seriously, and I believe that the media, I'm in the media and I'm ashamed to be in the media. There is media here today, but the media has not been informing our citizens. And I'm talking about television, I'm talking about radio, I'm talking about press, all of the media. It is shameful how they're not responding and not bringing and mobilizing our citizens and informing our citizens around the country. Because our politicians will not lead. Forget about it. They're not going to lead. If there's no votes in it, they're not going to act. We know that COP21 is coming next week, and we know that it more than likely is not going to deliver what is going to save us. It will be a compromise, a sham, a half effort. We need to dramatically reduce and decarbonise, dramatically, and we're not anywhere near it. And COP21 doesn't look like it's going to get to it. So we as citizens, right across the world, need to engage the 7.3 billion people into taking action that will ensure that our politicians act and lead us where we need to go. And Ireland is not performing. Our greenhouse gas emissions are 50% above the European average per person. We are 50%. We are shameful. We are locked into fossil fuels. We need to get off it very quickly. And I think we heard some points about fracking and coal and peat. But also we need to tackle our transport and all of our power and all of our buildings. It's a massive revolution, and it needs to come, and it must come from the people. But by doing so and making the transition, we can really transform this country and build hundreds of thousands of new rewarding livelihoods right across the country. We can use that $6.5 billion that's being drained out of our economy and make sure that that money stays circulating in our local economies. We can do the same with the amount of food we import caused by our 5 supermarket chains and make sure that that food and that money stays in this country and is part of the solution. There's a lot we can do as local communities. We can all form local cooperatives. My message to everybody here is that we need a proclamation. We need a proclamation for the 21st century. We look back on those visionary patriots 100 years ago. They had a vision. We need a vision that is going to save this young generation and our biosphere from what is coming down the track, which is catastrophic climate change. We need to all act now.
Thank you, Duncan. I'd now like to invite Julia Walsh from Frack Action New York. Julia led a campaign that banned fracking in New York State.
Georgia, it's good to be back home. I come to you today over 3,000 miles in generations since my ancestors lived on this island to take action with you to stop one of the biggest threats to the future of Ireland and to the future of our climate, the oil and gas drilling process known as fracking. This issue right now is being decided on by the Irish government, and it can be stopped if each and every one of you does everything you can to stop it. And I say this with confidence because we banned fracking in New York after waging the largest grassroots movement in our state's history. And if New York can keep out the oil and gas industry from fracking, then surely the Irish people who rose up and kicked the British Empire off this island can as well. Especially this year. Fracking started in the United States in 2005, and in the past 10 years across the country, scores of people have been poisoned. By the time fracking reached New York, we could see the damage it had done. We saw firsthand water come out of people's sink faucets, so polluted that you could literally put a match to it, and the water would go up in flames. We met with people and gas workers who were sick. They had rashes and lesions all over their body. Their hair was coming out of their heads in clumps, and their kids were projectile vomiting, having migraines and neurological problems, and some are getting cancer. We met farmers whose animals died and gave birth to dead babies after they accidentally drank frack water. It was because of these stories that New Yorkers took action. Everyday people like you and I organized and demanded that our government ban fracking. And last year they did just that. Our governor, Andrew Cuomo, had the New York State Department of Health review the over 400 scientific studies on fracking in the U.S. And they deemed that fracking posed significant public health risks to New Yorkers. And if it's not safe for New Yorkers, then it's not safe for the Irish. And New York isn't the only place that prohibited fracking. Countries like France, Germany, Bulgaria, Scotland, Wales, Holland, and Netherlands have enacted bans and moratoriums. And yet, the Irish government right now is working hand in hand with the industry to start fracking. In 2014, the Irish and Northern Ireland governments commissioned a, quote, research study that they will use to legitimize fracking and allow it to proceed under the guise that it was studied and it is safe. Recently, the anti-fracking campaigners in Ireland discovered that the company conducting this research study, CDM Smith, works as a consultant for the oil and gas industry. The fox is literally guarding the hen house. There is no independent review plan, no interim reports, no public consultation at all. This bogus study is nearly complete. All that remains is one more step before fracking starts in Ireland. Going onto people's land to conduct the industry-led studies about the water and geology of Ireland that will be paid for by your taxpayer dollars, over €1.5 million. Thanks to the action from the Irish campaigners and their Stop the Study campaign, this bogus study is stalled, but only for a moment. People of Ireland, we are out of time. This study needs to be stopped and thrown out now. Fracking needs to be banned completely, and this small group of volunteer campaigners who I have come to love and know need your help. Fracking isn't a local or regional issue, it is a national one. There is shale rock, not only under the Northwest, There is shale rock throughout Ireland, including Dublin Bay and Dublin County. The industry is sneaky and they have chosen places where they can start fracking. But once they start, once the oil and gas industry occupies Ireland, they will lay waste to your land, poison your people, and leave you to clean up the mess, just like they are doing in the United States. I've come here today to urge you to do everything in your power to stop this. This Wednesday there's a meeting with the Energy Minister, Alex White. Will he represent to a government meeting, to your TDs? They can ask questions about this. Minister White has the ability to stop this study and review the health impacts like New York. We need campaigners, everybody here, to call him up. To call him up, take out your cell phones, get his number, tweet at him. Every day, from now until the day they ban fracking in Ireland, please take out your phones and do this. Tell them to stop their bogus study and ban fracking. Google stop the study and work with the Friends of the Earth and Good Energies Alliance. I want to give you a message before I go from the people of New York to the people of Ireland. We stand united with you against fracking. Now we must all work together to ban fracking in Ireland. And chant with me, ban fracking now! Ban fracking now!
Ban fracking now! Ban fracking now!
Thank you!
Thank you, Julia. I'd now like to ask Amy Colgan to address us. Amy is 17. She's a youth activist and she's from Clondalkin.
Sorry, I'm a bit short, just let me in just a little bit. Right, so I'm Amy, I'm 17 from Dublin, and I was part of Troper's Climate Change Challenge last year. And that in addition to another organisation called ECO UNESCO.